This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The Israeli army is pushing into Gaza City in what is expected to be the most difficult stage of its war against Hamas. Mike Glenn reports the Israeli army has set up several heavily fortified tactical assembly areas just outside Gaza City to use as launch points for raids into the city and positions for artillery. Although Israel has not fought a major urban battle since clashes in the Gaza Strip more than 15 years ago, experts say their army has intensely studied the challenges of fighting in a densely populated city. Military strategists are closely watching the tactics to see how urban warfare has been altered in an age of drones and integrated battle spaces. House Speaker Mike Johnson had families of hostages taken by Hamas invited to Capitol Hill to increase pressure on the Senate to pass Republicans' Israel aid bill. Alex Miller reports Johnson said Congress cannot waste any more time in supporting Israel with a $14.3 billion aid package. The House passed the package focused on military support last week, but President Biden and the Senate have rejected the measure because it is funded by clawing back a huge allocation increase to the IRS. Senate Democrats and the White House have accused House Republicans of playing partisan politics with the aid and have vowed to nix the bill. The House has taken up a measure to block federal funding for mandated technology that would measure driver behavior and stop vehicles if drunken driving or other impairment is detected. Under the mandate, Susan Ferricchio reports manufacturers must equip all new vehicles beginning in 2026 with cameras and sensors to detect intoxication and eventually other dangerous driving behaviors. The technology would prevent cars from operating if the sensors determine the driver is impaired. Critics say the technology is imperfect and intrusive and would leave motorists stranded and subject them to unlawful surveillance, among other problems. Lawmakers debated an amendment from Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie this week to block funding for the effort for 1 year. If it passes, it'll be included in the House version of the 2024 Transportation Funding Bill. The Biden administration has asked the Supreme Court to preserve gun control laws that deny firearms to people deemed dangerous, even if they've not been convicted of a felony. In a case testing new limits of state gun ownership restrictions, Alex Sawyer reports Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar said the situation has become messy after recent Supreme Court rulings. She pleaded with the court to deliver a firm statement clarifying that legislatures do have the power to block certain people from obtaining firearms. The case involves a man whom prosecutors say had a history of reckless shootings, but no convictions on his record. After a tense encounter with him, his girlfriend obtained a protective order in Texas. Under federal law, that meant he was barred from possessing a gun. Afterward, he was involved in 5 shootings and was convicted of illegal gun possession. And finally, a coalition of Democrats and Republicans say that they will try to block the renewal of the government's chief spying tool unless intelligence agencies agree to new rules. Stephen Dinan reports the mix of House and Senate lawmakers said the government should have the powerful tool known as Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, but only if intelligence agencies admit they've been abusing the program and accept new limits on their ability to dig into data. Section 702 will expire at the end of December unless Congress extends it. It allows the government to gather massive amounts of data in the quest to root out international criminals and terrorists. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.